Hope you guys are having a strong start to your morning. I know I am. I'm very excited. We're fired up. I already have the DFS optimizer pulled up right now. Name's Billy. Good morning. All right, so let's get into this right now. Let me know how it went for you guys yesterday for sports betting. I had a very solid day making some money. Made almost $1,000. Little parlays, little positive EV, little arbitrage. We're going to start off knocking through all the different DFS books right here on the optimizer. And then we're going to hit up some different strategies like arbitrage and positive EV. So prize picks at the moment for 5 and 6 pick entries. There's really only enough to make one slip here at the moment. And some of these are Super Bowl picks. So this is going to change throughout the entire stream. So we're going to kind of bop around all the books. Going to come back here multiple different times going through all the DFS books. So if you haven't seen your book yet, don't worry. We're going to it. So one spot there for prize picks. We'll look at, wow, man, a lot of underdog value. Love seeing this. All right. We'll start with 3-man entries with no insurance on underdog. And let me throw in at least 2 minimum data points because when I'm sports betting, guys, especially using the optimizer, I want at least 2 other sports books' opinions when it comes to, is this Wiggins play or Goga's play? Is it decent? So throwing in at least 2, you can see that we have FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM, and Caesars all offering opinions over here on Wiggins, and then some other sports books as well. Underdog has this line at 17.5. FanDuel thinks it should be at 16.5, basically as a flip of a coin. And some of these other books see it as 16.5 as well. So this bar is set too high over at Underdog. We'd want to bet the under. Well, good morning, guys. Welcome in, Bull Flag Will, Darlin Carlos. What's going on, man? Dan, made about 600 while priming yesterday, so I'm super happy right now. Taking the day off work since it's minus 10 degrees Celsius. Minus 10 degrees. I'm American, so I'm not the brightest, but I can, in terms of Celsius with Fahrenheit, what that equates to, but I can tell you that's very cold. So, holy smokes. Here in Western Pennsylvania, it's not too shabby this morning. I would say it's probably going to be like maybe the high is supposed to be. Let me see what it is supposed to be. I have no idea. But I don't think it's going to be super cold. We've kind of gotten through that with January. So we're looking at some different underdog entries for 3 picks. Yeah, today's high 35, low at 25, which is about par for the course when it comes to Western PA in February. It's not too bad. Now, if I expand this to 6 pick entries at minus 116 odds, again, if you're new to sports betting, think of this like buying a stock, right? Alex loves to say this. I've adopted this saying from him, whereas for Jaden McDaniels, Odds Jams Optimizer thinks this should be priced at $121.68. We're getting this at $116 on a 6-pick entry. So really, really like this, and there's a lot more options when it comes to 6-pick entries with insurance. I'll slowly scroll down so you guys can see some of the other plays as well. If I'm moving quickly, all right, either just take some screenshots or let me know if you want me to go back to a certain book. But basically the idea is, guys, I'm going to go through every single DFS book here on the optimizer. We're going to hit up the arbitrage tool. We'll hit up the positive EV tool. So whether you like to play, you live in a state where you can only do DFS, well, we got you. And if you want to play some straight wagers, we got you. And if you want to just make risk-free cash or arbitrage betting, then I got you. So for the next hour or so, I'm just going to dump all of the information that I know about sports betting onto this stream for free. And then, you guys can just kind of find the best bits and pieces that you like and utilize it for yourself. Holy shit, there's a lot of value right now on Underdog. Okay. Yeah, so different 6-pick entries. We'll head over to Better right now and start off with 5-pick slips. Love to hear that, though, Dan. Absolutely love to hear that from you, brother. Better 5-man? Yeah. So for myself, we don't have, if there isn't at least 5 plays in green or orange slips, then I'm not interested, right? I'm just not going to do it. So everything's here in red. Yeah. I'm just not feeling it. Not feeling it at the time. I'll come back to Flip and Rebet. We'll go over to Parlay Play, Dabble, Vivid Picks, Hot Streak, DK Pick 6. We'll take a look at all these. So starting off on Parlay Play, 2 options right here with Lillard and Bradley Beal. Beal's kind of meh. And then Lillard, we have Fliff, Hot Streak, MGM, and DraftKings offering their opinions here. It's kind of a mixed bag. I'm not super excited about this, play. It's especially compared to DraftKings. I love to see my 3 sharp sports books when it comes to NBA player props. I like to look at FanDuel, Pinnacle, and then BetOnline as well to see what's going on. Let's take a look at Dabble right now, and we'll start with 5-pick entries. Okay, 5-pick entries with no insurance, not bad. It's okay. If I change this to 3-pick entries, I would just say Sohan, Mobley, and Valanciunas might be your top plays. That would be it. Now, Sohan, there's only one book like Flip that's offering their opinion on this. So if you want to move on past that, then you can just kind of add Mobley and Valanciunas and then go from there. But for a 5-pick entry, there is some solid options here on Dabble. I'm heading down to see my father here in Florida in about a month, and I am very, very excited to just kind of sign up for a lot of the different DFS books. When I was there a year ago, I did sign up with Dabble. No value on DraftKings Pick 6. Let's look at Sleeper. So I already have a Dabble account fired up, ready to go. And so I'm excited to get down there. I'm just going to make slips all day long. Probably bet on Hard Rock and then just play DFS all day long. So Sleeper, DraftKings Pick 6, no value at all. We'll hop over to Vivid Picks, and then we'll take a look at ProfitX and Novig as well, and we'll look at Fliff. Okay, Vivid Picks, no, not much going on at the moment. For Fliff, right, I'm just going to kind of set up some best parameters that I would like to go after some plays. But we're looking at maybe odds of, I could say, let's go minus 175 to, let's say, plus 200. And that changes things a little bit, right? If you want to move this bar up to minus 250, you can. But at the moment, looks like we have total rounds for a UFC fight. BetOnline, extreme. I don't know if this is boxing or UFC. I would assume this is boxing. The BetOnline is extremely sharp when it comes to UFC. It's my go-to sports book that I utilize as a reference point for UFC fights. And then we have a lot of data points here on Vooch, right? So we're getting this at minus 105. This is okay to FanDuel. I'm not crazy about this. It's only a 10-cent difference, right? The difference between minus 105 and minus 115 is a difference of 10. It's 19 cents to Pinnacle. Yeah, this is an okay play. I'm not super pumped. But again, if you watch a ton of Bulls basketball and you know that Vooch doesn't get a lot of rebounds when he goes up against Gobert, okay, then you can obviously throw more on this if you want. For myself, I'm probably just going to walk away from this play. Let's throw on Rebet right now and see what we have. And then we'll also throw up Rebet Prop City for the specific player props. We can see, though, we do have a college basketball player prop here. Extremely juicy. I'm not really interested there. And so without any filters set up, without any data points, I'm not crazy about betting a minus 481 on the Eagles. This is a Super Bowl spread, plus 10.5. Oh, okay. Just not my cup of tea, guys. Short odds are not really my favorite types of wagers to place. I'd rather go a little bit more for the long odds or just kind of staying like a plus minus 200 range. Minus 200 to plus 200, that's where I really like to stay. With this Radford play, DraftKings is the only book offering their opinion here, so I don't have a lot of confidence. I immediately just look for where's Pinnacle's line, right? No Pinnacle odds here at the moment. Or BetOnline, so I'm not really interested in any of these. Now, if we head over to Prop City, yeah, different story with Prop City. So for Draymond on his assists. Now, typically for myself, it's a little too early in the morning for me to wager on NBA player props. I like to wait about an hour before tip or an hour before, like at 6 o'clock. That's when I'm streaming later on my YouTube channel tonight. Even though this game's at 9 o'clock, I like to wait until a little bit later. But this is pretty solid. It's way off to FanDuel on the under 5.5 assists. Pinnacle sees it at minus 102. It's still 16 cents off. So I would be inclined to bet more of this over at Rebet. I'm very limited on Rebet, but I do like this quite a bit. So that's really where I'm looking for is, all right, Pinnacle and FanDuel's here. Do either of them have odds? They do. Okay, then how much off? And typically I'm looking for at least 15 to 20 cents difference between these books, if not higher. So in this case here with Mobley, guys, just so you know, the difference here is 21 because you got to go from minus 111 down to plus 100 and then back down to plus 110. So that's a difference of 21 cents. This would be like, okay. But here with Pinnacle, it's only a 5-cent difference. So not as excited. But some different options here for Rebet Prop City if you guys love to bet player props early in the morning. Again, just my cup of tea. It's not really for me to go too hard in the paint early. But as we get later in the afternoon, for myself living here on the East Coast, then yeah, I'm definitely a little bit more interested. Over at Novig, Kind of same rules apply here. Mahomes and Duncan Robinson, I would kind of bypass these two plays, not especially with Mahomes. There's no one really offering odds on this just quite yet. But a lot of NBA options right now, especially with the Timberwolves and the Bulls. We could see with Giddey playing his old team, the over on the rebounds, SGA under on player-made threes. And so a play that I would be a little bit more inclined to maybe go after is Giddey compared to, SGA, this is all right. I would say, not, and because Dallas Goedert, I don't think for NFL player props, I don't think FanDuel's the sharpest book in the world. I lean more towards Pinnacle and BetOnline when it comes to the NFL props. So just trying to share with you guys some of the markets in specific books with what markets that I like to attack or what I focus and lean heavily on. Again, I'm not the most profitable user in the OddsJam community, but I do know how to make money. Made over $6,000 last month, so it was pretty solid. But if anything else, I just try to share some tips and insights because that's what these streams are all about. It's not just about giving you plays. It's about showing you how I find these plays, teach you how to fish, right? And then you don't need me. You can do this on your own and you can do it confidently. So that's kind of the whole point behind it. All right, that's no vig. It's okay. There's some value out there at the moment. But I'm not, again, with player props, I'm just not as interested. Normally, early in the mornings, I'm focusing on money line spreads and totals when it comes to, let's look at ProfitX. When it comes to any of these, whether it's college basketball or the NBA, I'm really focused on total spreads and money lines. So the mainline markets is where I shift my focus in the morning. And then as we get later into the afternoon, I flip the switch and I go straight just to player props. That's really what I look for. Okay, ProfitX. Usually no vig has more odds and more opportunities I found early in the morning than ProfitX, but then as we get closer to tip, ProfitX I feel just takes over for arbitrage opportunities. Like this over in this Grizzlies Raptors game, Pinnacle's at minus 101. This is plus 101, so this is a 2-cent difference. I'm not interested in this at all. If Pinnacle was at say minus 115, then yes, I'm very much interested in this specific play. So maybe a little bit more interested in Samford, minus 11.5 against Mercer. Two very small college basketball programs. But this is an 11-cent difference, which I could start to get a bit more curious about. Same with maybe Southern Mississippi and Appalachian State. So we'll go ahead and fire up ProfitX and go after a couple of these books. All right. Darian, Prize Picks. Yeah, we started the stream off with Prize Picks, man. So we'll make sure that we go back over there here in a bit. Just give me maybe 5 minutes or so. Let me maybe get a couple bets for myself. And you guys, if you want to tail this, we're looking at Samford and Appalachian State, and then we'll fire up some more Prize Picks. At the moment, when we fired it up earlier, there were only 6 picks available. So we'll do a little Control F. See what we got. Samford, we're looking at minus 11.5. And so the minus 11.5, there's about $1,700 available. So this is an okay play. It's not insane for me. So I'm just going to go with a 150 spot right here. So I would say a quarter to a half of a unit would be my recommendation if you're like, well, how much should I throw on this? But there's value out there if you guys still want to grab this. Plenty of money out there. And so we're in for 150 on the Samford, minus 11.5. And then we'll take a look at this Appalachian State under. Again, these are two really small college basketball schools. And you could really look at the same, too, for this Virginia Tech SMU game. I might have a little bit more confidence in the Virginia Tech game just because they're a slightly bigger school. But Southern Miss, we're looking at the under 138. And so we're over here, and you can see that the under 138, there's about $795. And so I'm kind of wagering a very similar amount across the board in terms of 150s because I feel like all of these have a very similar edge to me. And we'll even take a look at that Virginia Tech play. And so for the Virginia Tech play, so we're in for 150 on this one. So just a couple college basketballs. We're looking at the over. Thank goodness I'm not betting an over on actually Virginia, but it's Va Tech. And this is the over 147 at plus 107 odds. And there's only $161. So I would bet this, right? But I'm going to leave this one out there for you guys, okay? Because I'm a nice guy. If you want this, go grab it. But if I come back in a couple of minutes and it's still there, then I'm betting it. So just so you guys know, I try to make sure. I always feel bad if there's only $161 out there and I take it all. So I try to share the wealth a little bit more. So for Darian, because he was clamoring for Prize Picks, here's the top 5 and 6 pick entries on Prize Picks right here at the moment. Now, again, I don't have any minimum data points set up, but these would be the top 6 plays if you wanted to make a slip right here, read 'em and weep. I obviously have the most confidence in the Wemby play because everybody's got this at 24.5, and we're getting at 25.5. They have the line set too high, so we want to bet the under here, especially when everybody has it at 24.5. So prefer that a little bit more. If you wanted to throw the Saquon play in over some of these other plays, I'm fine with that, right? More books, more opinions, more confidence. But these are what we have currently cooking at the moment with Prize Picks. All right, now I talked about before, if you want to make some risk-free cash over here in the Arbitrage tool, this is how you can do so, right? Where you're going to find out as we get closer to tip-off tonight with NBA that you're going to start to see a lot of these Arbitrage returns right here, this column. This is going to start to live in that 3 to 5% range consistently as we get like to 5 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Eastern. At the moment this morning, there's some value out there, a lot of no-vig Bet365 value living in Pennsylvania. Again, guys, for my filter setup, it's nothing too crazy. I just have all the sports books in Pennsylvania teed up, selected, and then that's it. There's no minimum odds. There's no percentage. All the sports and leagues, everything's selected in the all position. I have all the markets. I'm just focused on today, and that's it. DVIG settings, I don't really mess with this at all when it comes to arbitrage. So I'm just pulling this up right here, and then we can just go through. So at the moment, there would be a lot of bets that if I wanted to go after with Bet365, I would go ahead and hit up. For myself, I want to save my Bet365 account for live betting. I think I can just make a lot more money live betting than I can with pregame betting. So I kind of save that account for certain accounts. I save for that. But Bet365 really dominates everything. But here, again, the reason why I don't have a minimum ARB percentage return set up is because it really just depends on you. Some guys won't go after an ARB unless it's like 3% or higher, and that's cool. Some guys are willing to just grind out these 1.5, these under 2% ARB plays, and I get that, right? To some people, it's like, yo, bro, if I can make $4 or $5 for free and do that 4 or 5 more times here, then like, yeah, let me get this, right? So you're putting down $260 on Cade Cunningham over under between DraftKings and ProfitX. You're making $4 to $5. You rinse and repeat this a few more times, and next thing you know, you're sitting on $20, $15, $20 after like 4 or 5 ARBs. So the other reason that I don't set up a minimum percentage is because I specifically look for Pinnacle's logo. And if I see Pinnacle's logo on this arbitrage tool, especially when we're down in like the 1% range, like right here for Keldon Johnson, this would be an automatic smash this over at Bet365. Now, obviously, it's player props. It's early in the morning. I say I don't wager on them, right? But I would be more interested. So anytime that I see this, I like to bet on this. Anytime it's an ARB to Pinnacle, that's a great indicator just to bet this as a straight bet. Unfortunately, I don't think BetDSI's odds are correct on this one. But for Bet365, this is what I would use it for. So it doesn't matter to me what the sport is. It doesn't matter to me what's being recommended. If it's an ARB to Pinnacle, I immediately am interested in placing a straight bet on this. Same with me, Cheech. Over here at DraftKings, you can see for player points, this is an ARB to Pinnacle. When the plus odds are bigger than the minus odds, you can make risk-free dough. So this is how I would like to bet this over on DraftKings. So that's why I set this up this way, guys. Again, I'm just sharing with you exactly how I like to attack these tools and how I use them. So it's a tutorial within a stream itself. Now, outside of arbitrage betting, we'll head over to the middles tool. Is there anything out there at the moment? There's some esports for an offshore sports book, but I'm not interested in that. But with middle betting, again, the only thing that I set up my filters with is I just come over the percentage. If you want to set this to 1, you could do that. If you want to go 0.01, then you could do that as well. You want at least something with some positive returns. We'll clear out all the books. Just go to Pennsylvania, show the results. So for like ESPN Bet and Bet365 for Dillingham over under 4, 5.5 points. If this dude lands exactly on 5, you're going to win both bets. Now, this ARB is like pennies, right? We're not making much, if anything, off this ARB, right? If I throw in $50, I wager 144, we're making 65 cents. Like, that's not worth it. But if somehow he lands exactly on 5 points, you're going to win both bets. So that's why setting up your filters saying, you know what, Billy, I don't want to go after stuff that's below 1%. All right, that's cool. Then just set this up for, I don't know, maybe 1.5% is your minimum ARB, right? It's going to be an ARB no matter what. But yeah, leave yourself a small window of opportunity to hit the middle, and then just come down here and click Save Filters. And you could save this for whatever you like, whatever you want to call it, and then you're just going to get a notification when there's ever a play that pops up. So not much on the middle tool right now at the moment, but that's okay. We'll hop over the plus EV tool. Now, there's a lot of different ways that I utilize this. As you can see, some of my filters over the last couple days, guys, I did a deep dive. I exported all of my bets from OddsJam. I looked specifically into certain markets with certain books, odds range, what my ROI was, and then I went and created customized filters off of some markets that I have a high ROI with, like Caesars for college basketball. I've done very well with them. So haven't made it, but you can kind of see my different filters. But outside of using these filters, I just come over here, select all my PA sports books. I got plus 150 as the maximum odds I'm willing to accept. Minimum odds, nothing's there. Now, percentage, I float between 2, 3, 4%. Since I'm going to focus right now on a lot of main market plays, I lower my bar a little bit more. I can even say go 2% is probably solid. I'll sometimes maybe do 1.5, and then the markets, I'll just deselect player props, okay? I'm focused on today. My DVIG settings, I'm using the OddsJam recommended book weights right here, and I'm using the power default. I will switch around sometimes to Pinnacle and others as well. Now, the issue that I have with OddsJam's formula is because I'm not interested in betting on team total card points in this English soccer match, right? I don't care about that so much. If I wasn't limited on Fanatics, this would be a great play. Now, just like No Vig and ProfitX, Bet Openly is one of my favorite books to utilize. This Wizards Moneyline play, God, I hope this is out there. This is at plus 126 odds. All my sharp sports books are chilling at around maybe plus 109. So Bet Openly, just like Cut, is a peer-to-peer sports book. So let me go over to this means that you'll never get limited. They don't care how much money that you make on their account. It's me versus you. As you can see, there's $395. I have about $1,200 right now in this account. I'm betting this whole thing. I'm going to bet the whole freaking thing on the Wizards. I know this sounds pretty crazy. It sounds nuts, but the Wizards stink. But I got an insane price. So we're in for $395 on the Wizards. Now, maybe I went a little bit above my recommended bet size, but looking at all of these sharp books, I'm very excited about this. Now, you're not going to see a money line play typically in the NBA with that type of EV percentage at a DraftKings or a FanDuel. But with these peer-to-peer websites, you can find that sometimes. So $395 spot, I think it was 9.6. There we go. Nice to hear that, Gucci. 2 for 2 on the Onyx odds. Yeah, Onyx is nice. If you guys live in a state where maybe, like it's Georgia or Florida where maybe FanDuel isn't quite legalized just quite yet, definitely like seeing that going after Onyx, as they're a FanDuel skin. They replicate all of FanDuel's odds, and now you have access to either A, new book with new limits, and B, a book that copies FanDuel. So, if you're like, hey, Billy, I really want to bet on this team total corners, but, if you use Onyx, you can find this. So, shout out to them. And then we got a little NBA team total as well here on Bet Openly. So, this isn't that great to Pinnacle. And another thing I love to use, guys, utilizing the Platinum plan, the line history. I love the line history. I can see where my sharp books are. BetOnline just kind of set it and forget it, but you can see Pinnacle's rising in price, meaning that we're moving from a minus, as I scroll down just a bit more, we're moving from like a minus 125 up to a plus 100. It's moving closer to like basically an underdog. We're getting this at plus 106. I don't like this line movement, so I'm not very interested in this play because even though OddsJam's recommending it to me in their formula, a sharp sports book like this, I'm not crazy. I could also select any other sports books that have odds attached to it. Bookmaker is a book that I think that's quite sharp, and I like to look at them, and I like to see what their price movement is. And at the moment, they've just kind of set their odds. It's flatlined, right? So it just depends on who you believe is really sharp, but I'm going to stay away from the under on the Thunder and the Suns at the moment based off of the price. So, I don't mess around too much with European basketball. If you guys do, let me know in the chat how it works for you. And we're going to go back over the optimizers, show more prize picks and underdog guys. But I just try to round the bases to get everybody out there that has some different books. So South Alabama, Coastal Carolina, the under right here. This looks decent to Pinnacle. What I'll also do is I'll open up the event page. And what I'm really hoping to see is BetOnline, Circa, and Bookmaker or all have like the under 126.5 or under 127, and they see that as the favorite, okay? So as we open this up, It's like I almost like knew it in advance. It's pretty crazy. So Bookmaker has this as a flip of a coin at the under 127. Circa's at 126.5, and BetOnline is at 126.5 at a slight underdog, right? Now, again, this is just a difference, but we're getting a better price at ProfitX, and we're getting an extra point off to Circa and BetOnline at the under 127.5. Again, these are two small college basketball schools, but looking at the sharp sports books, I am interested in betting South Alabama, Coastal Carolina. Like, I want some of this because all my books have this priced a lot lower. The bar's set too high, so we can get an extra point to some of these other books. So I come to 127.5, and you can see there's only there's only $12. Okay, that's fine. The under 128. Yeah, I'd be more interested in these prices. I'd be more interested in this line, but not these prices. So that's okay. We'll just walk away from it. But this is how I like to utilize, take a look at some where the other books are and grab some. First quarter point spread. Interesting. Minnesota Timberwolves. -5.5 against the Bulls. Plus 145. Pinnacle's at 133. Where's Pinnacle been moving to recently? Okay, so Pinnacle is just kind of chilling down here, and then BetMGM's kind of chilling upwards. This is like something I would be interested in going after. I am limited on BetMGM, but we'll give it a go. I'll fire it up. And then after this bet, we'll head back over to the optimizer to show some more prize picks and underdog plays. Guys, if at all during the stream you have questions, right? You're like, hey, man, like you didn't get to answer my question on the stream when I asked you, just email me or DM me, and I'll respond back to you. I respond back to everybody. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. Utilize me as a guide, a resource. So the one-click bet feature should pull this play up. Over at MGM, you can see it. All the work's already done for us. It's pretty cool. And so at plus 145 odds, I'm limited on BetMGM, so I'm probably going to be able to wager like $10. But they're telling me to wager $130. I can get down on this for about $100. I'm cool with that. So I got to wait till the gold spinny wheel of death on BetMGM. Shout out to BetMGM for being such one of the slowest books out there for live betting and for just pregame betting. So if I want to throw $100 in, what's the limit? I'm thinking $10. Oh, no, it's $8.33. That's okay. So at this point, because I'm limited, I'll take whatever they give me, right? So I'll take my $8.33. If I win, I'm making $12 in profit. That's going to buy me almost my entire lunch today at Chipotle. So shout out there to BetMGM for limiting me to pennies. But that's okay. All right, back over at the optimizer. Let's do a quick refresh right here and see what we have going on with prize picks. We had some money liners, bro. I took all the value on the Wizards money line. I'm that guy that bet Wizards money line today. But they're taking on the Nets. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Prize picks 5 and 6 man entries. Let's throw in these so we can get some good ideas. All right, so 2 minimum data points. I'll go back to 0 if you guys are interested in just no minimum data points. But for 2, we got Goddard, Hollywood, Brown combo. DeRozan under on his points and assists. Remember, Levine's lines are up now, guys. He should be in the lineup tonight. Kind of cool that 2 ex-Bulls are now on the same team again with DeRozan and Levine. Clax, and then obviously Saquon's been out here forever, which I'm not interested in betting the under on his fantasy score either, but it's there if you want it. If you don't want the fantasy score, just skip past it. And then we have Hurts, Cryptic, Mahomes, and then Bridges. So these would be the different options for 2 minimum data points for 5 and 6 man entries. If I just remove the 2 and just say, yeah, man, I don't care about minimum data points. Then we have a little bit more with Ferguson, maybe Brute Monster, and then Call Me, Claxed, and Cocoon. Interesting. These names always kill me. So some different League of Legends, CS2 Go. This is a soccer DP World Tour. Might not be. Might be tennis. No strokes. It's golf. Never mind. This is golf. Apologies for the Qatar. So this is European golf, Euro golf, which I love seeing that. Okay. That's pretty neat. We're adding just outside of PGA Tour, we're adding some different dudes. So outside of no minimum data points on prize picks, guys, these would be the top 5 and 6 pick entries. Let's head over to Underdog and see what we got cooking. Chi-Town, what's going on, man? Great. Dom, what's going on? Let's see. Ian, morning to you as well. Wade, what's going on, brother? Meaning to you. All right, so Underdog. We'll start off with 3 pick entries with no insurance. I don't see anything that would allow a 2-pick entry, guys. Again, because 2-pick entries sit at the minus 136 range. We need OddsJam's algorithm. We need them to suggest that these plays are going to be at like minus, 140, right? And then we're getting a good price. So what you're going to notice here with the minus odds is anytime, we're always going to have, this is going to be a higher number on OddsJam's number compared to this. So if we want to play 2-pick entries, I need at least minus 138, minus 139 for 2 picks in order for there to be a little bit of value. If these were, though, at like minus 160, then there's a ton of value on 2-pick entries. But at the moment, we're seeing that there's some value here for 3 picks, no insurance. But again, all of these picks, Sleeper just has 1 data point here. We got 2, though, for Prize Picks and Sleeper on this one. So again, you're never going to see at the moment, hopefully one day, FanDuel and DraftKings puts up some esports lines, but at the moment they don't. Now, Bet365 does put up esports lines, so that's another tip if you guys don't know with 365. If you like to bet on esports like League of Legends, Bet365 offers them. But if we jump down to 6-pick entries, again, this is a big price jump from minus 122 to minus 116. And so we're going to see a lot more options. If I drop, that's terrible English, by the way, William. 2 minimum data points, solid. So I'll just slowly scroll through some of these plays if you're an Underdog user. Again, when I move back out to the desert in Arizona in a couple of months, I'm going to have access to Prize Picks, Underdog, and better. So these streams are going to get better. I'm actually going to be able to share with you the links in the chat, and I'm moving there in the middle of May, maybe sometime in May. So I'm very excited to get back to the desert, very excited to get back to some sunshine. And I'll be able to share more links with you guys in terms of slips so that we'll be able to kind of just ride together if you want to. Or you could fade me and just make a bunch of fun of me. Either way, it's going to be a good time. So Underdog, yeah, we got some solid value on 6-pick entries. For myself, guys, I'm not just, if I had $25 to spend today to make Underdog slips, I'm not just taking the top 6 picks and putting all $25 on it. I would take this and maybe put like $7 on this top slip, then make another slip here for another 7, and then I'd go to like the red slip, these yellow slips here, and maybe make, two $5 entries, something like that. That's where I would really look to kind of chop this up a bit more as we head over to better. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate it. Yeah, and out in Arizona, totally forgot. Appreciate Tanker letting me know about this. That they have sport trade. It's like I believe it's like an exchange, another sports book out there. And then for you guys that it's a sharp book. It's called Bet Chris, right? Bookmaker and Bet Chris, Bookmakers and Bet Chris, 2 sharp sports books that I utilize, that I reference a lot to. They offer the same odds. They have the same odds as each other. But Bet Chris is now available to download and play in Arizona, which is really exciting. You think you can find some really good arbitrage opportunities. Because this is a much bigger book that a lot of professional betting syndicates utilize, I'm not nearly as worried about limits over there. Parlay play, no value at all. But if you guys live in Arizona and you don't know, BetChris is now available to download on your phone. So take advantage of that. I still have some decent amount of friends out in AZ. One of them is a sharp sports bettor. And so him and I talked quite a bit, and he told me about BetChris that was available out there. So I got one of my moles out there in the desert providing me some intel. Dabble, 5-pick entries. And then also, so we got some 5-pick entries here on Dabble. Then my cousin, shout out to my cousin, just accepted a job at Titleist. He's moving out to San Diego. And so now I got an excuse to go to California, where there's a ton of DFS books out in California. It's only like a 4 or 5 hour drive from Scottsdale out to San Diego. If anyone knows that drive, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like 4 to 5 hours. It's not too bad. And so I'll be excited. I've been to California a couple different times, but I've never been to San Diego. I've spent some time on Venice Beach and the Redwood National Forest, but never went to San Diego, which I'm very excited to. For me as a golfer, I feel like it's a golfer's paradise. Let's take a look at Sleeper and DraftKings pick 6. Yeah, no value on Sleeper. So I now have a reason to go visit some family in California, which will then give me some opportunities, kind of like Alex, to hit up a lot of these different DFS books like Chalkboard and some of these others. So very pumped to have some family out there, and so kind of excited to get back out west, especially for watching sports. In my opinion, there's no better time zone than out west to watch sports. It's the best. DraftKings, it kind of stinks though for baseball season, like to watch my Pirates and they like first pitch sometimes at like 4:30. You know, I remember when I was working in a cubicle, it was kind of tough to watch some of their games until like later on. But outside that, I think it's a really good time zone. So DraftKings pick 6, 2 pick entries. If I don't have 2 picks, I'm just not going to rock this. Okay, so let's take a look at Fliff. No, Trey, I don't think I've been to Kingman before. Yeah, Torrey Pines for sure. Ian, I can't say I've been to Kingman. So what I did is, so this will be the 3rd time I'm moving to Arizona, which sounds kind of crazy. But I used to work in the golf industry about from 2008 to 2016. 2008 to 2015, I worked in the golf industry. It was my undergraduate degree in college. And so I worked at a course out in Arizona called Desert Mountain. And then I knew I wasn't coming back to the golf industry anymore. So I got in my car, I drove to Venice Beach, and then made a road trip from Venice Beach all the way up to Seattle, and then drove from Seattle back to Pittsburgh. And I hit up a bunch of different spots all the way. I think it took me like a little over a week. I just had like my car all packed up with all my shit, and I just drove out to Venice Beach. I spent like a couple hours on the beach. Then I drove up to the Golden Gate Bridge. I stopped where the one spot in California. I went through Highway 1, stopped where all the sea lions or whatnot. Like there's like a bunch of sea lions. I might be mispronouncing it. They just kind of like get up on the beach and they just kind of lay out and sunbathe themselves all day long. That was really cool. Went to the Redwoods National Forest, walked around there. Then went and saw my buddy in Portland, played a round of golf in Portland, and then went up to Seattle, and then kind of made my way back, hit up Mount Rushmore, hit up some different national parks like Glacier National Park. So did a lot of different stuff, Yellowstone, and then went all the way back to Pittsburgh. So I did like a 7 to 10 day drive. That was like 11 years ago. Actually, about 11 years ago, it was the beginning of March. So it's coming up on 11 years. It's crazy how fast time flies. So I spent like, a day or two in California, but not a ton of time. So we're looking at a hot streak at the moment. I'm excited though to spend more time in California, especially in San Diego. Haven't really been out there. And for an East Coast boy, not really East Coast, I'm more like Midwest. Pittsburgh's a little bit more like kind of like East Coast-ish, Midwest-ish. There's not a lot of folks around here, at least where I live, that spend a lot of time out in Cali unless it's for work. So I'm excited to get back out there. What I do for the golf industry, Skunky? Yeah, assistant superintendent. Yeah, so I was on the professional golf management side, so I went to PGM school to learn how to like fix clubs, give lessons. I never really worked with any of the superintendents in terms of like, I never hopped on the mowers or learned. I mean, we did some core class. We did like a class where we learned how to like cut. We learned more about like the agronomy and the ground. But I was more about working behind the golf shop, on the driving range, guys pelting balls at me while I'm driving the picker, setting up for tournaments, fixing clubs, giving lessons to juniors, to kids. Going out there and just kind of making sure the whole operation. So I did that for like roughly 10 years. I started working at a golf course in high school and then went all the way through. So we're looking at dabble again, 5 pick entries. Went then all the way through. I've worked at various different courses, worked at a U.S. Senior Open, been to Colorado, Massachusetts, Florida, New York, worked 2 summers in the Hamptons, which was awesome. Really good time. Really enjoyed the Hamptons. Long Island's a fun time. So yeah, I kind of bopped around all of it and then kind of got sick and tired of traveling and wanted to kind of like, I don't know, I was like 25 and like was tired of making like 30 grand a year, making nothing, and wanted to kind of get back into like a more and I didn't want to play golf anymore. That was the worst part that's the one like biggest misconception of the golf industry is people think that when you work in the golf industry, like you play all the time. It's like, actually, no, you work all the time. You very rarely ever play. And when you do get some time off from the golf industry, you like don't ever want to play. And no offense, Skunky, I don't know if this, but most of my experience with superintendents, a lot of the dudes were alcoholics. a lot of them. But I mean, they had a pretty sick job where they just got up early in the morning, start cutting grass, and they were home by like, 11:30, and that was it, right? But they're up like at the ass crack of dawn. They're up before dawn. Naturally, they're up at like 3:34 getting on those mowers and kind of cutting. We're looking at Onyx here at the moment, guys. Like we mentioned, it's a FanDuel skin. So for the most part, Onyx's odds should match FanDuel 1-for-1 right here, as you could see. But if you are looking for some value, and this is where maybe I would pull this up just to say, hey, is Pinnacle really off? Like player props, I'm not interested. but maybe like on these Jazz spreads, if Pinnacle or BetOnline had odds for these plays, I'm a little bit more interested. If I scroll all the way down here, maybe this under on the Pelicans-Nuggets game, 13 cents off. That's like, it's not great. That's like okay. Maybe like a small amount of edge like it's being suggested here. But I'm probably not going to go after it just quite yet. I'll wait a little bit later or see if anything else really pops up. But that's automatically how I kind of like to use Onyx, guys. So we'll go back over the EV tool and look at maybe some other plays. I will throw in some player props now because I know maybe some of you guys, this is maybe your one time of the day where you get the chance to place some bets. So I want to make sure I give you some player props. As you can see, there's just so much 365 value. I'm going to switch this over to Pinnacle as the sharp book. Again, guys, because of the Platinum plan, I have a lot of great options. So, if you're thinking about signing up for OddsJam, let them know. Let them know that you want to try the Platinum plan. I know that starting today, they are running some type of Super Bowl promo sale from now until the rest of the week. So I will say this, guys, whether it's with DGF and their tools or OddsJam, starting today until the end of the Super Bowl on Sunday, there's going to be some pretty big sales being run, okay? And these sales aren't going to be here next week or the week after. So I would liken this to Black Friday sales. These are some pretty good sales that they're running. I don't know the specifics, but I'm going to take a look at my inbox today. And when I'm live streaming later tonight, I will definitely kind of shout that out so that you guys are aware. So some different player prop bets right now for myself. I'm going to stay away from a lot of this at the moment, but if you are someone that wants to go after this, please do. This is actually one of my favorite props to go after with hockey, which is anytime goal scorers. Oh, my God. Okay, so and then here I am. I'm going to I'm not going to break my rule, but this is a prop that I love to bet on. This is an insane price at Bet365. Okay, so if you're new to sports betting, a $100 wager over at Caesars is going to pay you $122. The same $100 wager placing this bet over at 365 is going to pay you $165. That's an extra $43 in your pocket off of a $100 wager. Screw it. If it's a $10 wager, it's an extra $4.30 in your pocket off of $10. You get an extra $4 just by playing this over 365. This is kind of a crazy, insane price. Again, utilizing this line history, I love using this tool specifically for player props. Really helps me out. In this example, really all four sports books that we have teed up, 365, FanDuel, Pinnacle, and BetOnline, they're all they have the line set differently. Typically, what I like to see is like Bet365 is flatlined, and then Pinnacle is flatlined, and then all of a sudden within the last 20 minutes, they've just kind of fell off a cliff, meaning that they fell off more to a favorite side, right? So they go from, maybe a plus 130 all the way down to like a plus 105. That's what I'm looking for. But simply stated, this is just way too high of a line. And it is interesting, but there isn't any massive movements at the moment. So, okay, we'll just do kind of a quick scroll. Bet365, if you don't have it, guys, they're a bit annoying then to you because you're like, dude, this is all I see is 365. Yeah, they're one of the more profitable sports books you can beat. Or go take a road trip to a state that has 365 and then go after them. Yeah, Trey. Yeah. It's crazy because out here, I think the drive. So I think from driving through Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Indiana, Ohio, all the Midwest states are all the same, right? So that drive is all the same. It's just trees and roly-poly hills, and it's decent, but it's just kind of green. And then I get excited when I get out to the desert because I'm like, whoa, I had never seen anything like this before, even though I've driven across country 3 or 4 times. But I know what you mean. Driving when you're already out in the desert and it's just flat and everything's brown and you're just rocks and you're like, okay, whatever. And then you just keep driving and it's kind of more of the same. I can get what you're saying there, but it's interesting. East Coast, West Coast, it's a different feel. But I feel like a lot of the East Coast is exactly the same. I thought about moving to Charlotte, 3-4 years ago, before I decided to move to Scottsdale. And I was like, well, Charlotte's the same as Pennsylvania, topography-wise, except the weather's just a little bit better, but the humidity's still terrible. And now that I've gotten, I've lived in a climate with no humidity, I'm a massive weather snob now all of a sudden. Love the fact that there's love the fact that there's just no really low humidity in Arizona. It's a game changer for me. Kind of like OddsJam is. So this Walton play, If you guys don't know, I'll mention this again. In my opinion, Pinnacle is extremely, extremely sharp for pregame tennis spreads, tennis bets, just tennis bets in general. By the way, guys, if you were on my live stream yesterday, the massive $400 wager I put on Shelton on Bovada, that cashed. Tennis and then pregame soccer. So when I'm looking like Walton at -5.5, this is almost an arb to Pinnacle, but this is an insane price. I don't even need to sometimes I don't even look at the line history on these because I know the Pinnacle is so sharp on this. Maybe I'm a little bit too bullish on this, but if I wasn't severely limited on DraftKings, I would bet this. Not quite good enough over an offshore book called JuiceBet, but I love this over at DK. Again, I have no idea who these dudes are. I just know that they play tennis, but I know the Pinnacle is very sharp. So some different options right here. Like seeing this. Nothing at the moment. Glad that we got to hit up that rebet play or that bet openly play I put. I can't believe I bet almost $400. I bet almost $400 on the Wizards money line. Cavs at -3.5 for rebet. This is going to be specifically for rebet for spreads, totals, and money lines. We talked about with rebet player props. You can use some other offshore sports books if you wanted to get their player props as well. But for main lines and spreads like this is rebet created in-house. This is an arb to Pinnacle here, right? Plus odds are bigger than the minus odds. You can make risk-free dough. You can't arb Pinnacle to FanDuel. This wouldn't work. You'd lose money on this. You'd make money on rebet. This is pretty crazy. So if you guys are looking at Cavs -3.5, they took one on the chin yesterday against the Celtics. They're taking on Detroit. Sometimes if the screen doesn't pop up, I just got to remove a sports book or two, and then there we go. So Pinnacle, as you can see, this is what I like to talk. This is what I mean by like a good example. Pinnacle's starting to move down. Right? They started at -132 odds way back up here, 135. And now they're all the way down to -159. So this is a nice movement downwards. Whereas rebet, they've moved down a touch, but not really, not from about 3 hours ago. They're just kind of flatlined. They're very stale. So this is the kind of action, this is the sharp action I'm talking about. A sharp book's moving in one direction, and we can pick off a stale sports book right here at -136 odds on rebet. So I like this play a lot. Cavs -3.5. Furman, this could be maybe decent as well over at Fliff. They just changed it. It was good. They moved it to +135. You could still make the argument that it is good. If this is the case for you guys, just come over to the calculator. Change this from 140 to 135. If you could type, William. There we go. You can see that we have about a 1.68% edge. So if your bare minimum is at least 2% or higher, then just walk away from this. But if you still want some action on this, or I don't know, maybe you watch a lot of Furman basketball. Let me know if anyone in here watches Western Carolina or Furman basketball. If you're an alum or if you watch a lot of them. I don't. But this is where you could go after this play if you wanted to, even if the odds change. Because +135 is still higher than the no vig fair odds of 131. It's a solid play. Again, we're de-vigging to Pinnacle right now. So Pinnacle is our sharp. Oh, first quarter total points. Woo-hoo-hoo. This is one of my favorite markets to bet on. Lost this bet 2 days ago. 120 over Bet365. This would have been a smash for me. This might have been one I might have logged on my Bet365 just to get this. This is a specific market that I've done very well in over the last 2 NBA seasons. First quarter total points, the overs. But anyways, guys, that's where we're at. So we'll head back over to the optimizer. But just like to showcase some different plays. This is one, though, guys, where I don't mess around with second quarter total points. I'll live bet the second quarter total points market, but I won't make a pregame bet for it. Let's go back over to Prize Picks. Dr. Flush, no, I'm still living in Western Pennsylvania, brother. So I'm going to miss the Open. I will say this, guys. And if you don't know what the Open is, guys, it's the Waste Management Open. It's, okay, so a couple things like in terms of like sports bucket lists, right? So I'm a golf guy. I love playing golf on the weekends. I'm not like I don't watch a lot of golf tournaments. I'll watch the majors. I'll watch the Ryder Cup. You're not going to catch me watching the Farmers Open that just happened. Like, I don't care. Pebble Beach, AT&T one, I don't know. If I need to take a nap on a Sunday and there's no football on, I'll watch it. So I've went to the Waste Management Open. A couple years ago. I'm not kidding you, okay? It is a golf tournament like any other. If you guys aren't unaware, if you don't really follow golf, it's the biggest party golf tournament of the entire calendar year. It's an absolute time and a half. No other golf tournament is like this tournament. It's just drunks. You just go. People that don't even care about golf just go to this tournament. They get absolutely hammered. And last year was a crazy one. The city of Scottsdale, we got in a lot of trouble. Cops were not happy with how we treated it. And then obviously the 16th hole, the par 3 is one of a kind. But you gotta get that into that seat at when the gates open for general admission. You got to get there at 6 a.m. and then just run. And then by the time that it's 8:30, if you actually get a seat at the 16th, you are by far hammered. You're gone. You're you're passed out sleeping by 10 o'clock in the morning. But I remember walking into the waste management, and I'm not kidding you, within the first 15 minutes, now I'm divorced, no kids, I saw at least 40, if not 50, future Mrs. Collinses within the first 10 to 15 minutes of walking into the Waste Management Open. I did go on a Saturday, so it was the third round. Friday and Saturdays are peak. Saturday's really the craziest. I cannot tell you how many smoking, good-looking ladies, hot ladies there were. Oh. So even if you guys don't care about golf, trust me, they got a lot of great concerts going on throughout the entire week. It's a great time. Try to see if you can hook up with someone that maybe gets a corporate pass that can get you in there for free, but it's a time and a half. What kind of live bets, Matthias? Yeah, I made a video on my YouTube channel actually going over, I'll throw this up right here, just going over some of the specific markets. It's always mainline markets that I go after when it comes to live betting. And I'm just focused in on that. But I do go through in depth in the video and the actual setup and the filters. So we're looking at Underdog. Let's change this to 3-pick entries. Let's change this to 3-pick entries with no insurance. So where is this one at? It is right here. All right, so it's going to be this video. I'll share it here with you guys in the chat. I am obviously plugging my own channel. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. The only problem is, so if you guys want to check this out, this is a video going over some of my live betting examples and going through the filter setup for live betting. So if you want to take a look at it, let me know. If you have any questions, just reach out. But yeah, the only thing, Skunky, is getting an Uber out of the waste management, you have to walk 2 miles because everyone's trying to get an Uber right there. So you have to walk really far out of the tournament to then find an Uber. That's the only kind of tough part. But if you and your buddies are looking for a bachelor party destination, February in Scottsdale's not too shabby. Now, last year, the weather was not kind. It was not kind at all. Some different 3-pick entries here. It was very chilly. Normally, it's going to be in in the 70s. And the 70s is decent in Scottsdale. That's nice. It's not pool season because there is no humidity. Nobody goes in the pool out in Arizona unless it's at least 85 degrees or warmer. But yeah, you guys get an Airbnb, go down to Scottsdale, check out the Open, get absolutely in one. It's a fun time. It's a really, really fun time. And then every now and then, like we had a couple years ago, we do Arizona hosts the Super Bowl from time to time. So the last time the Chiefs and the Eagles played, that was in Scottsdale. Well, that was in Glendale where the Cardinals play. So you got the Waste Management Open and the Super Bowl in the same weekend. It's people literally Airbnb their houses and make 10 grand in a weekend. Just by giving up their home, go live in a hotel for a week or a weekend. You can make, depending on how nice your home or apartment is, you can make $10,000 to $20,000 Airbnb in your home for a weekend of the Open, the Waste Management or the Super Bowl. It's a great time. So another plus EV move if you live around. If you live in Maricopa County, which is where Phoenix and Scottsdale is, then you know about this. But it's pretty cool. So we're just going to go back over one more time, guys, sweep through the DFS books, and then I'll call it a morning. If you've enjoyed the stream, I will be back on tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, primarily focusing on player props. You might get a double dose. You might be seeing me on my channel. Alex probably will be maybe streaming here on the Odds Jam channel. So you'll get the Godfather, and you'll get the wannabe guy that wants to be like the Godfather. So you'll kind of have two different options there if you want. Week after the Super Bowl Chi-Town. Nice to hear that. Yeah, the golf carts, man. Yeah, Trey, they got those golf carts just running up and down all through town. So that's the other cool thing, with Scottsdale is, so I've gotten in trouble before, not in trouble, but I did. I had to go to the emergency room. This wasn't during the open management, but I've gotten on those scooters, right? Because I rode dirt bikes growing up through. I'm a country boy. I'm used to riding 4-wheelers and dirt bikes. And so I remember, like, you could take those, like, bird scooters, which I love. And I remember kind of having too many cocktails and taking a tip, ass over tea kettle on one. So you got those out there. The scooters are out there. They got the golf carts running up and down the roads, taking you to wherever you want. You just pay, you can Venmo them and then, or pay cash. And then you obviously got Ubers as well. So Scottsdale is a party town. And for a single guy like myself, I'm not sure why I moved back to Western PA to see my friends and family. It was nice, but I got to get back to the desert because it's a fun town. It's a town like it's like no other really. All right, let's take a look at some other books that maybe I haven't showcased as much, like a Vivid Picks. No value at the moment right now with Vivid Picks. 5-pick entries with insurance. Okay, it's like yeah, I'm not interested in that. DraftKings Pick 6. We'll take a look at Hot Streak next. Yeah, DraftKings Pick 6, 2-pick entries. You could rock this with Lillard and DeRozan if you wanted to. 2-pick entries with no insurance. If you wanted to make that slip and then maybe make a different combo, maybe Lillard and Goga, you can make those 2 different types of slips right there. For Hot Streak, what do we got cooking? Yeah, definitely would recommend that if you get on scooters, do not ride on the back. Do not have a chick ride on the back with you. Don't do that at all. Please, please, please. Anyone that rides 2 people on a scooters, you're asking to basically like break your collarbone or split your head open. It's a death sentence. So, I rode, and so basically how quick story time as we end the stream here. So I left, if anyone knows, there's some great bars in Old Town. I was leaving a place called The Hot Chick. It's a great bar. They actually serve excellent chicken for a bar. Fried chicken, it's really good. And it was my cousin's birthday, and so I had already scootered up there sober, and then, I was definitely hammered. And so I got on a scooter, and I could have walked. It was probably like a 20-minute walk back to my apartment, but I decided to take a scooter. And basically, I'm on the sidewalk, which you're not supposed to be, and then, like, no one's on the main road. And so instead of me just, like, kind of going on the walking path, I just figured I'll just hot dog it and just jump right off, right? Because I ride dirt bikes. I know what's going on. And the problem is like, when you're drunk, you do some really dumb stuff and you think like you can do something and then you can't. And so I did not stick the landing, scraped my face, my arms, everything. Had to go in the ER. Luckily, I did not get a DUI. And then like 2 days later, I was supposed to go on a 4-day golf trip to Pinehurst and play like 7 rounds of golf. And I was all freaking scraped up. It was, needless to say, I didn't break 90 on the golf trip because I was in a lot of pain, but had like a minor concussion. So be careful. That's why now I only ride the scooters if I'm sober. And if I drink at all, I learn my lesson and I just either Uber or I walk home. That's all I do. So I kind of have a little Forrest Gump in me. I don't mind walking like 30 minutes to 50 minutes. If it's like a beautiful night outside in Scottsdale, dude, I'll walk all day long. So, all right. That's what we got cooking at the moment, guys. That's the stream. I'll be back on tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern on my channel. If Alex and I are both up at the same time, then I don't know, maybe just throw us both up on the sides. You're going to get a lot of really good DFS value with Alex. And for myself, I'm going to be focusing a lot more, maybe some offshore sports books, and then obviously like the BetMGM and FanDuels of the world. I do show the optimizer on my streams, but because I live in PA, I just show it, and then I kind of, boom, I get into the straight wagers and the parlays. Otherwise, guys, have a kick-ass Wednesday. And I will be back on here tomorrow on the OddsJam channel at 9 a.m. Eastern for Thursday. So if you enjoyed it, stop by. Otherwise, guys, have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Take care.